Welcome back to another tutorial video for Symphony of War: The Nephilim Saga. I am Phil, the lead developer, and I am again very grateful for you to be here and support our game's development as we get to the finish line. So this is a tutorial video about the heavy classes, heavy infantry and heavy cavalry. So this will be similar to our tech tree video in that the first part will be very rudimentary, and then it'll go actually into great detail about each class. So do meter your time as much as you would like here. So, heavy infantry has a few base characteristics. The baseline movement for heavy infantry is 6 tiles in open terrain, so that's the standard movement. And everything about heavy infantry is standard. It's basically the baseline class. Heavy infantry's purpose, for the most part, is to take damage and deal damage. So they will be dealing melee attacks from a variety of different ways depending on their class. But, a lot of classes can deal damage, but really heavy infantry excels at taking the damage. Heavy infantry also, and I should include heavy cavalry, heavy classes are distinct in that they provide the best blocking and covering bonuses, which we will go into in the formations video. So you really are cautioned to have some amount of heavy troops in all of your squads that will be doing frontline combat. If you imagine you're going to be attacked in some way, there are some exceptions, but generally speaking, heavies are the backbone of your army. So we do have heavy classes that are available to both the fighter tree and the militia tree, which is why we have both of those classes here. So I will go ahead and start off with all of the heavy classes available to the fighter. So this class, I'm going to go ahead and use my cheats to get him leveled way up, just so he can actually hit all of the class changes available. So the fighter class is the base heavy infantry. He does have the guardian trait, meaning he can get a bonus while on defense, so that's pretty cool. And he has high armor and pretty good strength and HP. Actually, all of these classes have high armor and strength and HP. That is what they do. There's nothing really exceptional about the fighter except that he has the most possible class change opportunities. As you can see, there's so many available. He can do all of basically everything except for a few specialized light infantry. So if we upgrade, we can do 3 possible heavy upgrades from here. We can be soldier, spearman, and cavalier. Let's look at the soldier tree. And I'm going to go ahead and level his soldier skill up. He's going to be super high level by the end of this video. So the soldier is nothing more than a stronger fighter. He has the same exact guardian trait, meaning he's stronger on defense, and he is going to be your backbone heavy infantry. And like all heavies, provide the maximum possible blocking and covering mechanics for your formations. From the soldier, he can upgrade to 4 classes: the Knight, Sentinel, Champion, and Zveyhander. So the Knight is going to be, let me save that for later. We'll do Cavalry later. Zveyhander is a specialized heavy infantry that attacks in a wide arc. So each Zveyhander attack will hit the entire row in a splash damage formation. So he'll hit the target strongest, but then he will hit the adjacent targets in that same row at about half power. So he's got kind of an area of effect attack there. And his stat increases are good, but not as good as the Champion, who requires more stats to upgrade and more resources to upgrade. The Champion is, I would consider, the most pure just muscle class available in this video, probably. All he does is walks up and hits you twice. So one thing to notice about the Zveyhander and Champion, they lose the guardian trait because they don't have their shield anymore. Now, the third class that I want to talk about for tier 3 is Sentinel. He still has the guardian trait and he picks up a polearm. So that gives him the advantage of multiple things. This is the defensive powerhouse nothing beats him in defense. So he gets a huge upgrade in armor and HP. He still gets Guardian, and he gets Polearm, which gives him an advantage against enemy cavalry, as well as the phalanx bonus by standing side by side by fellow polearm warriors. Now I want to actually degrade him to fighter. Come on. And we're going to go through the Cavalier. Now we're going to go to Spearman. So Spearman, like I said, advantage against Cavalry, and he gets the Phalanx bonus for being in proximity to other Polon warriors. Not as much pure power as the Soldier, and he loses the Guardian trait. So it's kind of a give and take. From there, let's see, the heavy classes that he can upgrade to are, again, Sentinel. We already talked about him. And then the two that are unique to Spearman. Archer can also become a Samurai. So Samurai. You don't get a big power boost from going to Samurai. It's basically the same power level plus a tiny, tiny bit as a Spearman. However, you do pick up a bow, which is just as powerful as the bow that the Archer has. And so the versatility of the Samurai is unbelievably useful. I cannot stress this enough. So not as much power, not nearly as much as the Centurion we'll talk about next. But the fact that he can counterattack at 2 range is just so useful. You can't even believe it. Plus, he has the tankiness of a heavy infantry. Centurion. Now, we don't have a bow here, but boy, do we have power and lots of it. So he has a very powerful attack, and he also splash damages in the row, actually in the column past. So he hits the front row and the row behind. Try to imagine he's just like got a spear that's just outranges even the front row of the enemy. So if you've got like a squishy person in the second row, this guy will actually hit him, which is super cool. So similar to the champion, just pure beef here, powerful. Okay, gonna degrade him back to fighter here, and we're gonna go to the Cavalier tree. So the Cavalier is the basic heavy cavalry. One thing to note is that heavy cavalry has the exact same blocking and formation bonuses that heavy infantry has, but now they have the cavalry movement, which is really, really useful in many ways. And the only thing he loses is the Guardian trait here. That's only available to the fighter, soldier, and sentinel. So, going to go ahead and upgrade him to Cavalier. Going to go ahead and max out his Cavalier traits. And we have now one choice, really, is the Knight. So, Knight is just a upgraded version of the Cavalier, and that is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, if you have a lot of knights are just so powerful, so beefy, so tanky, so reliable. You know, it's really the only thing that takes them down easily is magic, because they actually have a special defense against archery. So if you're trying to rush down archers on walls, send those knights in. They will just cut them right down and not even feel a thing. Now I want to go to our Militia. Militia is not heavy infantry. Militia is a light infantry. So that's kind of cool in that she can offer the light squad mechanic, but she does not have the block and cover mechanics of a heavy infantry and does not have the Guardian trait. So why am I including Militia? Because she can promote to 3 very powerful, very useful heavy classes. The first will be the Acolyte. Going to go ahead and upgrade. The Acolyte is like a basic paladin class, but not quite full paladin. So one trait about the Acolyte that differs her from the soldier is that she has a very powerful magic defense that derives from her armor value, and also she hits with blunt damage instead of slashing damage, which does extra damage to heavy opponents. So it's kind of the anti-heavy class here. So the Acolyte also upgrades to Valkyrie or Paladin. You can also become a Valkyrie by becoming a Hospitaller, but that's in the support video. So Valkyrie, let's talk about the Paladin first. Paladin is just a massively upgraded Acolyte. It's the same higher magic defense and blunt attack type, just with a really, really big stat boost, as you can see. Super tanky, about as tanky as the Sentinel, and much more tanky against magic. And then the Paladin has another special feature where she does extra damage to magician classes, so your mages and sorceresses and dark mages that you'll see plenty of. The Paladin will just bash them to bits. I was going to say cut them down, but they don't do that. They have a hammer. All right, and let me actually go back to Acolyte and talk about the Valkyrie. So the Valkyrie, again, you can become a Valkyrie by starting from Acolyte or by Hospitaller. So the Valkyrie is a mounted class, which is extremely versatile. She does not get as much pure power as the Paladin, but she does get a heal now. So basically, this is like your cleric in D&D. So she's going to have a slashing attack. It's no longer a blunt attack. So she does lose that bonus against infantry, but she is mounted now, so she can ride right along with those knights and cavaliers in a heavy squad or heavy cavalry squad. She does count as heavy cavalry now instead of support. And she does a 1 heal per turn. So normally healers just do 1 heal per turn and are kind of squishy. This Valkyrie is tanky and does an attack and does a heal. So it's just super, super versatile. I don't think there's anything more versatile in this game than the Valkyrie class. Okay, and there are some unique heavy classes, but that is something that I don't really need to do a tutorial about. That's something that you discover in the game story. That'll do it for the heavy infantry and heavy cavalry. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more tutorial videos. Take care.